It's time for everybody to get out their sea stars and prep for this upcoming challenge. The Astronomical League and NASA are partnering again and providing a challenge for astronomy lovers and just people who are interested in the night sky. And so this will be a fun challenge, an easy challenge. We can all do it. We can all earn a certificate. So this is how it goes. I will put up the link to the website. It's located on the Astronomical League site as well as the NASA Challenge sites. But I will include those links in the description box. I'll put it up here on the screen, but I know you can't click on it on most devices, so we'll just put it in the description box so that you can locate the nitty gritty details. The International Observe the Moon Night challenge. A lot of people will be doing it on October 4th, and that's the National Observe the Moon Night. But you can do this challenge between October 2nd and October 11th. That's when the moon will be visible. You'll have to do it during that period of time because if you don't, you'll miss the full moon and it has to be done in October. And so you have to submit your submissions by November 11th, I believe. Yes, by November 11th. But you do have to do the observing between October 2nd and October 11th. This is a list of the requirements to meet the challenge. The first one is to do an observation of the moon with either binoculars or a telescope. You can do it with your eyes only, but the details will be very small and it will be hard for you to see all the detail that you need to meet the challenge. Your observation must be done between October 2nd of 2025 and October 11th of 2025. And that's in order for you to be able to see the four Maria that are required. If you wait for other periods of time during October, they won't be visible because the moon won't be full enough. So you need to plan for that period of time. There is the national day that people will be observing it on October 4th, but we know how clouds go. Sometimes you can't do it on that exact day or for some other reason, but anytime between October 2nd and 11th of 2025. The observation may be done visually or through imaging mechanics. Include when you do your submission to get your certificate, include the information on what equipment you used. The first things that you're going to notate on your image are the four Maria or the dark areas on the moon, and you will identify them in your little sketch or image. So the mares listed here are the four that you will identify on your image. Your image can be hand drawn, or it can be like a photo image or a astrophotography image. It could be a downloaded copy of the moon with you writing it on it. Any kind of imaging is really acceptable. So once you've got your image and you've labeled the Maria, you will also need to label the 6 Apollo mission landing sites. So this may take a little bit of effort on your part. You can use software to find that there are different identifying things. You could also just Google it and you can get an image off of Google. You could use ChatGPT, any of those things to locate and identify that on your image. Um, it's really just a learning experience, kind of trying to emphasize the importance of the lunar landings and emphasizing the importance of the moon. So here's the tricky one. You need to do an outreach activity to share the information about the Apollo missions or the moon. This can also be the night that you observe and have some people over, some family or friends or a community. If you're part of an astronomy club, you could do it as part of an activity for the club. Any of those kinds of things could be considered outreach activities. I am going to be posting this video as an outreach activity to share the information about this challenge and to emphasize the Apollo mission and to highlight our moon. So that's what I'm doing for my outreach activity. I also am hoping that on October 4th, if the weather permits, I'm going to try to figure out how to do a live imaging session. And perhaps as part of my channel, I'll go live, posting that moon that is, I'm imaging live that night. And then everybody can join in on that activity and do their challenge that way. But I haven't done a live before, so that there's a little bit of a learning curve I've got to figure out and work out a few bugs. And then there's always, of course, the chance that the night you're going to do it, the weather doesn't cooperate and you can't image it. I'm hoping that I can just and get the live going and leave it running as we track the moon across the night sky. But, we'll see how that goes and be looking forward to that. I'm hoping I can figure out how to do it. I haven't done it before, so it would be a trial and error probably, but we're going to try and do that if we're able to. So be thinking of some outreach activities. It doesn't have to be big. It can just be with your family and friends. And there is a link that I'll put in the description too. Anybody that participates in the activity can download the certificate and use that as their reward for the participating and doing the challenge. And then when you're finished with all of that, you just submit the required information and your sketch or the image to the coordinator. The deadline for the submission is November 11th of 2025. They will not accept late entries, so don't be thinking that you'll get an exception because you won't. Here's the information for submitting for an award. Here's the email address, cliffandchris@wavecable.com. The information you have to submit is your name, your email address, your postal address, and phone number, your astronomy club, if that's applicable. You do not have to be a member of the Astronomy League to participate in this. So if you don't have one, don't include that. You will submit your sketch or your image, identify what equipment you used, if you used any, the dates and times that you did the observation, the latitudes and longitudes of the observations, and information about your outreach activity. So that's really what you need to do. You'll generate an email and send that information to the coordinator, and that's how they will log your entry. And then I'm not entirely sure, but what they've done with other challenges is they will then email you a certificate that you can print. And they're usually pretty nice certificates. I've been doing the Hubble challenge. That's a year-long challenge, but this one is just a pretty short one, pretty easy one. So it would be a fun challenge to do with our sea stars, or even if you don't have a sea star. So this would be a fun challenge to try and get your feet wet in doing some of these challenges. So we will put the links to the sites for more information, and so you can read things at your leisure and figure out what you're going to do. We'll also put a link to the certificate, so if you do participate in the challenge, you can download that yourself. But this is our outreach. This is an image I downloaded from ChatGPT, and it kind of identifies where those Maria are. But I couldn't get it to do all of the Apollo landings. And so it's sometimes hard to get ChatGPT to do exactly what I want it to do. But this is just a cheat For those of you that don't know what those are or where they are, this can help you identify where those Maria are. This image was just a Google image. I just Googled the Apollo landings, moon landings, and these were one of the images that came up in Google. So this is just an image that I downloaded off of a Google search. And so those are some ideas on how you can identify those. But then what you need to do for the challenge is create your own image, whether that be a drawing or a photograph or, some kind of image, and then identify the objects on the surface of the moon. And so these can give you a little cheat sheet on where you're looking for those things. I think maybe what I'll do during our actual activity, if I'm able to do it live, that will be great. And we'll just post it here on YouTube as a live video. But if I can't, my plan is to just image the moon and identify the things I need to identify, but then maybe play around with some of the videos, stacking of the moon images, maybe zooming in to certain areas on the moon, maybe use the sea star and try and get some fabulous pictures of the moon, because the sea star does really well on the moon. If you have trouble tracking and locating the moon, one suggestion is to set up your sea star and point it at a deep space object like a galaxy or something. And once it identifies that, then that helps it figure out where it is in the night sky. And then it's usually easier. And almost every single time it will go to the moon. But if I turn on the sea star and then the first object I try and go to is the moon, it zooms right past it, and for some reason this big glowing thing in the screen just zooms past it and it can't figure out where the moon is. It's a little infuriating. So all I do is I have it point at another object, identify it, then I stop that imaging and then have it go to the moon, and it finds it almost every single time. So that's a little trick to the finding the moon with the sea star if you're having trouble locating it. But I hope everybody gets excited about this challenge. It's a fun one and a pretty easy one, so it should be a fun one to complete. And sometimes we just need a purpose of doing things with our sea star. It can get a little tedious if all we do is just point at the same object night after night after night. And so this is a good chance for us to emphasize and do a little learning about the Apollo landings and the surface of the moon and some of the seas that were on the moon. And, we can make it an educational experience too, or just do it for fun. But I will post another list here with the email address of the coordinator so that you can have that. But I hope you all join in on the fun and share your experiences, and be looking forward to us doing a live if I'm able to figure that out and if the clouds cooperate. But anyway, we hope you enjoy the challenge, and we're wishing everybody clear skies. Thanks for watching.